friends with the Buffalo Sabres? What? What? Come on, yes! Taylor Hall! Welcome to Buffalo!
Oh, don't mind me just packing up the biggest waste of $300 I've ever spent. Haul or nothing, more like haul and nothing. So after a pretty long wait, the Taylor Hall trade finally goes down. And I gotta be totally real with you. I did not think it was possible for me to dislike the Buffalo Sabres more than I currently do. Didn't think it was possible. So the Taylor Hall trade has officially been made. The Sabres trade Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar to the Boston Bruins in exchange for a second-round pick and Anders Bjork. Because of course they do. Of course they do. I honestly feel like I'm more mad about the Curtis Lazar part, if I'm being totally honest. Like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to process what I'm feeling right now. Like, the Sabres make a trade after my bedtime, so it's kind of a little bit hard to get clear thoughts right now. But holy hell! How bad are you at this? Oh my god! I bet NHL GMs were just having a heyday with this one. I bet they were just calling up Kevin Adams, making their offers, hanging up and just like giggling. Truly. On a day when guys like Nick Foligno get a first round pick, right? And David Savard gets a first round pick. Brandon Montour, like a horrible NHL defenseman, got you a third round pick. Eric Stahl, basically useless 36-year-old for the Sabres, got a third and a fifth, and before I hear from it, I bet he's doing great with the Habs, I bet. So for Taylor Hall to get you a second and a worse bottom six forward is unfathomable to me. Like, I understand that this was a down year for him, but I think for the first time we were able to see the inexperience at play here with Kevin Adams. Like, there were a lot of things going against Kevin Adams, right? Taylor Hall was on a 1-year deal, expiring contract. We were going to lose him for nothing, right? So teams knew that. Teams knew that the Sabres had to get some kind of value for him. Teams knew that he honestly didn't want to be here. But like let's look at some of these other trades. David Riddick got a third to go to the Leafs. Jeff Carter just got traded for a third and a fourth. Like, this is mind-boggling that Kevin Adams... No, it's not. No, it's not. The thing is with this trade, I didn't expect much. And I think a lot of people were saying that the Sabres couldn't get a first-round pick out of this deal. And I'm like, in theory, you should be able to. You should. Was his production down? Sure. But, like, so was everyone's on the Sabres. It was a weird year for the Sabres. They had an awful coach. They had a weird, terrible system that didn't allow for goal scoring. They had, COVID pauses. They had injuries like crazy. It was just a weird year. I feel like a competent general manager would have been able to hold out for a first-round pick. Or at least, a conditional second that could become a first. That's what happened with Evander Kane. People thought Evander Kane could get a first-round pick, so they traded a second-round pick, that eventually became a first-round pick because Evander Kane re-signed. Like, you remember back in the day when Darcy Regier got a first-round pick for Paul Gaustad? Like, remember those days? I feel like with this trade, like, if you're Kevin Adams, you need to set the tone. Like, yes, I'm inexperienced. No, I probably shouldn't have this job. I am way underqualified for this, but you know what? I'm here to do the best job that I can, so I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out to get the best offer that I can. And for him to just prove that he does not know what he's doing. Like, a trade is bad when, like, I wake up because I was asleep when this trade happened. When I wake up and I check my DMs and everyone's apologizing to me, like everyone is expressing their condolences and their sympathies for me. Like, Kevin Adams, come on! Like, my thing with Taylor Hall is that in the end, it was an experiment anyway. Like, we only signed him to a 1-year contract. We basically got him for nothing. So, I guess in the end, if you only lose him for a second-round pick, that's fine. But tell me what these picks are going to do anyway, right? Let's talk about that for a second. You have no scouting department. Terry Pegula wanted to be, like, effective, efficient, and whatever the other 30 was. I don't even remember. I hate him. But he got rid of his entire scouting department. The Sabres are horrible at drafting anyway. So, like, what does a second-round pick even do? Let's put it that way. I would have honestly much rather Kevin Adams just traded Taylor Hall straight up for a prospect. Like, a Taylor Hall for a prospect that's a little bit closer to NHL ready. But I do not understand where this Curtis Lazar part comes in. What was wrong with Curtis Lazar? He was one of the few bright spots on this team. So in terms of Taylor Hall's time in Buffalo, the first word that comes to mind is underwhelming. And people, I think, will look at the 2 goals and, you know, have their criticisms. And yeah, I mean, he's got to score more than 2 goals. We did not bring him in for 2 goals in 37 games. I can already, like, see people in the comments go, yeah, well, you thought he was worth a first-round pick. He only scored 2 goals. Like, he got what he was worth. I've been thinking a lot about it. I could think of a ton of reasons why this didn't work out. Obviously, having Jack Eichel not 100% healthy the entire year hurt. You know, I thought when the season started, Jack and Taylor looked really good together. They were moving the puck so well. They were flying up and down the ice. It was like, oh my God, we finally might have a line here. You know, but Jack was just dealing with injuries all season. And when he went down, I think Taylor Hall's play also went down. Obviously, you don't want, you know, the play of an $8 million player to be reliant on, you know, what center he's playing with and whether or not he's playing with an elite center. But still, you know, we had a horrible coach. We had, like I said, we had a ton of COVID issues, a ton of injuries. This was just a weird season, and I think it's definitely going to be an outline kind of season for Taylor Hall. Is he the player that won the MVP award a few years ago? No. And will he ever be anything close to that again? Probably not. He's probably starting to go on, you know, the downswing of his career. He still managed to get 17 assists on this team, which isn't bad. I don't know, like, obviously his play was disappointing. What I found interesting about Taylor Hall was that when Ralph Kruger got fired, and Don Granato kind of took over, and I think players kind of got used to his system and what he was expecting of them, it seemed like, for the most part, most players took a pretty big step forward. And obviously, you look at the team now, they've been playing really well under Don Granato. And even when they're losing, they're still competitive in those games. They're not getting blown out anymore. Every game they're in, right? It seems like one of the very few, if not only, players that has somehow gotten worse under Don Granato was Taylor Hall. So to me, like, you know, I think, like, you know, was this just like a mental thing? Did he have an attitude problem? Like, I think Eric Stahl said it best. He said that the Sabres were playing somewhat well, you know, to start the season. Then they got hit 10 games into the season. They got hit with that COVID issue. They had to take a 2-week pause, and they never really were able to regain their momentum after that. Then they started getting hit with all these injuries, and, you know, that was kind of what did it for them. And so then they go on this 18-game losing streak. So maybe, you know, Taylor Hall's heart just wasn't in it anymore. Maybe he kind of gave up on the team and was just looking forward to getting moved at the deadline. Obviously, if you remember, he was interviewed after a game the one time, and it was John Vogel who asked him, so Taylor, if Kevin Adams came to you with a potential trade, you know, would you be open to that? And all he said was, yeah, for sure. Like, so clearly he didn't want to be here, and I think that showed on the ice. Like, the last couple weeks of, you know, him playing, he just looked like he wasn't trying anymore. He looked like he didn't really care anymore, and that is kind of what sucks the most. I mean, that just pisses me off more than anything. But in the end, like, a player of his caliber, regardless of the fact that he only potted 2 goals, should be able to get you more than a second-round pick and, like, a swap of bottom 6 forwards. Especially when other teams are getting what they're getting. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, if we're talking about goals, like, he just weirdly could not finish this year. Like, he had a ton of chances. Like, I think at least he could have at least 7, 8, 9, 10 goals this year. Like, he had breakaways, he had point-blank chances, and for some reason he was just weirdly not bearing his chances. But I don't know. Like, I mean, put him on a long list of big money free agent signings that didn't really work out, but at least lucky for us, it was a 1-year thing. But anyway, so I don't know, just add this to the list of, you know, embarrassing things to happen to the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, you think Taylor Hall's just going to go to Boston and be awful? No, I'm sure he's going to go get into that group and be a part of the success there. I'm still very hung up about this Curtis Lazar part, though. I don't know why that's bothering me so much. You know, you have guys that clearly, you know, want to work hard for you. Like, he was always one of those guys that, you know, you never questioned his effort. You never, like, with all the Sabres who you yell at for seemingly not trying, Curtis Lazar was never that guy. And so you're going to lose him of all players. That's just great. I'm not even going to talk about Anders Bjork because, honestly, I just don't care. Like I said, Kevin Adams really had the chance to set the tone here and prove that he wasn't messing around. And he has the league laughing at us again. Like, that everyone's just like, Buffalo. And honestly, what I don't understand is, why did this trade happen now? Like, hours before the deadline? Like, Kevin, wait it out. Like, is this the best you can get? It's amazing. Like, it's it's just amazingly bad. So I don't know how many more moves the Sabres make from here. I know that they reported that Linus Ullmark isn't going to sign an extension before the deadlines, and that he's probably going to test free agency, which really, really sucks because we don't have another goalie ready and waiting. So if they're going to lose him in free agency, I mean, I would still try to re-sign him because somehow, with as bad as the team has been, he has a winning record. Honestly, I would probably keep him and just do whatever you can to re-sign him, and if you lose him, you lose him, because what's some picks going to do for a team with no scouts? I'm sure there's some other players they could sell off for, you know, low round picks. But if this trade has done anything, it has given me no faith in Kevyn Adams' ability as a general manager, as a negotiator, as anything. But it has shown me that if Jack Eichel truly requests a trade in the offseason, whenever, we 100% might have another O'Reilly situation. And in that case, the Sabres are done. So let's just hope it doesn't come to that. The only bright spot is the fact that the Sabres have been playing significantly better since firing Ralph Krueger. But man, how deflating is this for the fan base? Ugh. So anyway, I mean, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you soon. Go Bills. Bye, guys.